Hello everyone, I'm Angelina Mojica, the host of Good Morning Minutes on Facebook and a certified family life educator.
Hi, I'm Danica Shea, and I'm a licensed master social worker and the owner of Danica Shea Counseling and Consulting.
We want to welcome you back to much love, much peace, many blessings. So we're going to dive in. We're talking about life, and we're going to dive and take a closer look at how do you push through when life changes are occurring. So when I say perseverance, Shay, what comes to mind?
Perseverance, to me, I think of the word persistence, which to me is you keep going no matter what, like no matter what the weather looks like, no matter what the situation looks like, you just keep taking one step in front of the other. Really.
One step in front of the other, just looking for that next goal maybe to achieve possibly. So I know that sometimes life can be hard and it can be challenging and can knock you off your feet and can knock you so hard and catch you off guard that some of us become stuck. So how do we look at maybe even taking that first step? How do we overcome that?
Of taking that first step and getting unstuck. You know, I think what I've seen a lot of times, and not just my clients' lives, but my personal life, I think when we're stuck, it's when we're dwelling too much on the past, on the what ifs, and I wish this, or I wish I could go back and fix this, or a lot of regrets. And really, I just see that as just really keeping us stuck because we're not in the present, and that's going to keep us from the future when we just keep on dwelling on the past.
Almost like replaying a movie in your mind, like, you know, I should have done this, or I could have done that, the shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you in that too. And I know with like, even the change, like with COVID, I mean, there's so many things that are keeping us in that anxiety and stress of these new changes. You know, back to school is coming up for many of us, and we're trying to decide what's the best thing. And you know, it's almost crippling, the anxiety and stress that some of us have.
Yes.
How do we overcome that?
Yes, and I think with that specifically, a lot of times what I've seen is instead of thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this for a whole year, or how am I going to make this work for 6 months? Sometimes when people look too far, like long term, it's overwhelming, and that will also make us like freeze and panic.
Yes.
So I say, you know, one small step, like even, you know, for example, if somebody's trying to quit smoking, for example.
Okay.
I didn't smoke. I had the urge to smoke right now, and I didn't have the cigarette right now. Victory. And I say every single time, it count as a victory. And you know, get through that moment of that anxiety, or that moment of trying to overcome that habit, whatever it is. So with that anxiety, I think you just need to just focus on the present and what I'm doing in this moment and from this moment on, and more short term, because if we focus too much long term in that sense, it's overwhelming.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm guilty of that, you know, from occasion to, you know, and even in the dating realm, you know, that tends to get me going, all like the woulda, shouldas, couldas, or the what's gonna happen next. And so I get very caught up in that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, you're right. I have to bring myself back to the present, and mindfulness is a good tool to do that, just to kind of ground yourself back into what you have control over now, and not you know, getting caught up in all the possibilities that could happen, because again, there are so many possibilities that can happen in life. I mean, there is no way you could even really prepare for that.
Yeah, and research shows, I don't know the statistic off my top of my head, but research shows, I mean, it's high. It's like 80-90% of what we fear actually never even happens. So like, and we're just sitting around fearing it, and we're really wasting time, not just time, but our energy. Our emotional, spiritual, physical energy is putting into that, and it's exhausting us.
Yeah. I mean, then that you get headaches. Like, there's so many physical manifestations of that worry, that just stress, anxiety. And I mean, that's what keeps us up at night sometimes too. You know, just our brain's constantly going and stuff. And so, yeah, being present in the moment, being mindful. I think some things to do, like just steps. I mean, most definitely, if you want to step forward into your next step, or even pushing yourself out of the rut that you can be stuck in, you want to take on a good perception of situations. You know, the struggle you're in today is developing. that's the strength that you're going to need tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. It makes me think of, iron sharpening iron, and kind of the whole diamond process of how, we get that diamond to look the way we want it to, putting it through the fire. And really, again, and we've talked about this, how just reassigning new meaning to, what has happened or what we've chosen in the past. Just, okay, what was the lesson and what's the meaning in it, and moving on. And so then next time I, can make a different choice.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Self-talk is another tool that you could use too. I mean,
that's huge.
You can tell yourself, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it gets, I'm just going to continue to push through. I'm not going to quit.
Yeah, giving up's not an option, or plan B is not an option. Because, she says self-talk, and I think so many times we discredit like affirmations and self-talk, but who talks to you the most throughout the day?
Me. Myself.
And yes, and you are talking to yourself constantly. So really the question is, what am I saying to myself?
Right.
So it's huge. If you're repeating, it's like, the subliminal message they put on like in the grocery stores and stuff, or whatever they say, or in these stores, it's the same thing you're saying to yourself. You're doing a subliminal message, and if you're saying, I can't do it, I won't do it, I won't make it, you won't.
Right.
So you gotta say, I can do it, I'm gonna push through. And so.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to really be your own hype person and get yourself hyped up, and take that step forward. It's going to be scary, yes, but if you have the right attitude, understand that great things don't come from your comfort zones.
No, they don't. And yes, and I like that you said that, because it's so true. We're not going to grow, and we're not going to experience new things out of life. It's going to be the same results and the same things in the comfort zone. So
yeah, and I mean, really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zones, you're going to see maybe even strengths or talents or skills that you never knew you had. Unless you had, decided to, okay, you know what, let me give it a try. Let me see what's really going to happen here too. And I'm just wrapping up. When we talk life perseverance, no one else is going to do it for you. So you have to push yourself.
That's right.
You got to be the one, right? Stay focused. The hard work is going to eventually pay off.
It is going to eventually pay off. And you know what? You're right. Nobody's going to do it for you. But I think, too, in perseverance, again, we've talked about this, what I'm surrounding myself with, who I'm surrounding myself with. And you know what? It is always a good idea to have someone to keep you accountable, an accountability partner, somebody to really challenge you and keep you accountable to what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely, yes, most definitely. And the more accountable you are, the more likely you're going to make sure that you stay consistent in what you're trying to achieve. And focus on where you want to go, not the fear. Fear can be so crippling.
It is crippling. So instead of focusing on, I'm fearful and I'm scared, focusing on, I'm excited and this is what's awaiting me and I'm going to experience this, and just, shifting the perspective that you're taking on, like that you're looking at it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, one small step after another. And if you focus on that progress rather than the results, you're going to see more growth. Would you not say?
That is huge. You're so right. Because I can't remember who it was, but somebody was reading something about a book that I was looking at, and I was like, wow, that's huge. It was like, sometimes we focus too much on the results, and we see, oh wow, look at this person and they got these results. But it was the day-to-day progress. It was the little small victories and the small steps. That progress is what got them to that result. And without that perseverance, we're not going to get those results.
Right. And remember, you know what? Yesterday came and went. That is no longer a factor in where you want to head today.
Yeah. So true. So true.
So true. And, again, never quit. Get back up, get back on your feet, and continue to push forward. You're going to stumble. I mean, that's just part of being a human person. You're going to stumble, but get back up and don't quit, because if you do, you're never going to hit the end goal that you have set for yourself. And I mean, when you hit those stumbling blocks, the best thing to do is to look and reflect on that progress, because you're not where you once were.
Right.
So don't let all that energy go to waste.
Exactly. Because hindsight's always 20/20, right? So we just have to remember to stay focused in the present moment, because when we look back one day, we'll
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
So
I do. I have a card that my sister sent, and she just, she reminded me as I go, and I have it on my mirror as a constant reminder. Don't look at where you are today. Look at where you've come from. And she's so right. And that just is encouraging to me every day, because I know as I get up every morning and put my shoes on and continue to go out throughout my day, I'm getting a step closer to where I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are wrapping up our episode today. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I am Angelina.
I'm Danica Shea.
Much love, much peace, many blessings.